So today we're going to take a look at Jason Day's pitching action. Much is made of Jason Day's game. Obviously, he's been a little bit injured. He's with a new trainer. So with an English guy who's helping with his fitness. Back's been getting a lot better. So that's obviously great for the game of golf because Day is so talented. But even when he was in his heyday, there's things that, winning a world number, things that were very unique to him in terms of his chipping and pitching style. He's very stiff-wristed and very kind of one piece, if you like, as an action. And this is what we're going to have a look at. So have a look at the pitching action, the chipping and the bunker play and see what is unique in that and how you can maybe apply it to your game. The reason we're looking at it mainly is recently, obviously in the playoff, to win the recent event, it went down to the playoff and I think 3, maybe 4 times he laid up on the playoff hole, hit pitch shot in, and I think made birdie nearly every single time. So his pitching game is absolutely amazing. So what I'm going to do is have a look at this right now and see what we can try to take out of that pitching game. So left hand side of the screen here is shot going into the playoff here on the 18th at Torrey Pines. Got the water in front of the green, and what we'll see is if we just slide this across, it's nicely in the centre, ball slightly above the feet there, but we can see everything turns back as one piece, arms in line with the middle of the body, not a lot of wrist set, okay? Then it gets up towards shoulder height, and then on the way through, he starts to unwind that body, okay? Arms are still with the body, everything rotates through the shot. And then what's really interesting here is the end of the follow through, there hasn't been any much rehinging of the wrist. Right elbow hasn't necessarily folded down, but the centre of the hands are back in line with the sternum, which is the centre of the body, meaning everything is totally matched. Now, this is a chip shot here from the front view at Augusta National, okay? And what we'll see in this, when we take it back, okay, for a chip shot near the green here, everything's very close together. There's very little hinge in the wrist, very little fold in the elbow. And what we'll see is the body starts to come through, club slides under the ball, ball rockets out really nicely, and then we see loads of extension with the arms to the body. Now ordinarily we'd look at this sort of action and think that this is going to see a lot of roll on the ball, but what we were actually seeing with this is that ball is checking very aggressively, and there we saw it just stop immediately. So this action is not necessarily going to give you just loads of chip and runs and stuff like this, because we can see if we really zoom in on the impact location here, we can see that the club is sliding under the ball, zero divot, and the ball is coming off really checky. What we also see is the left shoulder gets out of the way, so it rotates back and around in this direction here, okay? Chest and arms are matched, and the end of the follow through, the buttons and the hands are matched, and the grooves are looking back towards him, okay? Now, if we were to have a look at this then from just a slightly different angle, same day at Augusta, what we'll notice from here is how everything can move back together in that backswing. So he starts making that motion back, and we'll notice how hands and body are completely matched at this point. Right hand's still a little bit on top of the club, then on the way through. Watch how this left shoulder moves out the way. Club slides under, left shoulder works back and around, so it goes up and back in this direction. Hands are in line and the grooves are looking back towards him. The bit that I'm really impressed with is just how shallow that contact is. We can see zero divot here, but the pivot is totally in charge. It's not an arm action and not a hand action for Jason here. Everything's very one piece. The most unique bit I saw was this was in the last round at Pebble Beach when he actually knocked it onto the beach for his second shot, chipped it off the beach, knocked it into the bunker here. So this is his bunker shot. And what we see here is, even on a bunker shot, yes, there's some wrist action, but there's very little wrist action going back there. And on the way through, okay, he is still quite wide, relatively speaking. Those arms aren't working really into the body, but obviously it came through. Right hand did work under a little, but nothing like as handsy as you would perhaps tend to see like a Phil Mickelson type. So the bunker ball came out, pretty decent shot right into here, okay? But we're really noticing how that club is sliding under on the way through. And exactly the same as all of the pitch and the chip shots, everything is really well matched, okay? So from this swing to the one here that was on the 18th hole at Torrey Pines, everything is always matched. So what we're going to do is take a look at how we can now go outside, have a look at this action and see how you can apply this really simply to some chip shots and pitch shots and be able to be quite firm with the wrist while still not taking a divot and still getting loads of spin and control with your golf ball from 80 yards all the way in close to the green. The really interesting bit about Jason Day with his pitching is that he's been measured on 3D and I've seen the data, okay? And what's really, really interesting is that he keeps his weight over this left side and that pelvis moves towards the target a little bit in this direction, so his weight's never shifting off this front foot, okay? And what he's doing is he's turning that body, and on the way through, the body keeps rotating and the arms and body are always together as a unit. Now the key is to make sure that you aren't digging, okay, because you're not getting any sort of wrist angle in to allow that bounce to work under. The big key is he lets that left shoulder get out of the way, okay? So that left shoulder, as we saw down the video, moves out the way, meaning that the zip is further on than the arms are. This gives that shallow contact for him. It really makes a huge, huge difference, okay? So what we're looking at here is it's kind of on this sort of surface now, we're trying to make sure that we are getting that movement with the body. So we rotate here, and then we're just turning that chest out the way and making sure that everything is coming back and through as a single unit. Now, if you have a tendency to want to try and cut your wedges, it's going to be really difficult to do this because you're going to get too much down on it. So the idea would be to almost trying to feel like you're hitting a little draw, because it's very easy to get this feeling of it coming through so shallow here, even on quite wet surface like this, okay? So what I'm doing is, get the ball just a little further forwards in the stance, okay? Keep the arms on the body, and then just feeling that that chest and the arms move back and through together, almost hitting that little draw type shot. So going back, coming through, so that's coming off really shallow. So one hop and grabbed really, really quickly on the green that. So that felt like I've hit this little draw. You can see very little ground interaction there. And the key to that has been that it's just making sure that that chest keeps moving out the way on the way through and everything's coming back and through together. So if you're going to try and do this stuff like Jason Day is doing, particularly on the chip shot, it'll feel like you're hitting a draw. It won't be, but that's how it will feel because it's going to give that shallowness. So you're going to let those grooves come through, and then what you can do is to alter how the ball is going to react, play around with ball position. Ball further forwards, should be hitting it with more loft, further back, less loft. That's going to change the trajectory, and because of where it's going to be changing where the club is sitting, it should change how the club is interacting with the ball. Why not give that a bit of a try and see which way that you can find how it works? So we see it works amazing for Jason Day. The key is everything moving back and through as a single unit, and he has the pivot as the body is 100% in charge of this entire action. If you'd like to see some more pro swing analysis from us, please comment below. Let us know who you'd like to see. Who is it that you think? I'd love to know how he does that or what he's doing in his game and how I can apply it to my game. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. Thanks for watching, and talk with you again very soon.